Sarah had always believed that love was enough. She had built her entire life around that belief, loving Marcus with every breath in her body, trusting him the way a flower trusts the sun, completely and without question. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please stay with us and watch this story till the end. If there is any mistake or shortcoming in our story, please kindly forgive us and support us with your love, patience, and encouragement. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories, and tell us in the comments where in the world you are watching from. Your support means everything to us. They had met 7 years ago at a charity gala, and Marcus, with his sharp suits and sharper smile, had swept her off her feet within weeks. He was wealthy, charming, and told her every single day that she was the only woman he would ever need. Sarah came from a modest background, raised by her mother Elena, a warm and gentle woman who worked 2 jobs to give Sarah a decent life. Marcus never seemed to mind the difference in their backgrounds, or at least that is what Sarah believed. They married in a beautiful ceremony, bought a grand house, and for 5 years, life felt like a dream Sarah was afraid to wake up from. Then the dream began to crack. It started with small things, late nights, hushed phone calls, unexplained absences. Sarah told herself it was work stress, that Marcus was under pressure, that she was being paranoid. She was 3 months pregnant when the cracks became impossible to ignore. Her body was changing, her emotions were raw, and her mother had just been diagnosed with a terminal illness. Sarah was already drowning in grief when she discovered something that shattered her world completely. Marcus was not just having an affair, he was having an affair with Lily, her best friend of 15 years, the woman who had been her maid of honor, the woman who had held her hand at every doctor's appointment since the pregnancy began. Sarah found out not through a dramatic confrontation, but through a single text message that popped up on the shared tablet at home. A message from Lily to Marcus that read, "When are you finally going to leave her? You promised once the baby is born." Sarah sat with that message for 3 hours before Marcus came home. She did not cry. She did not scream. She simply looked at him and said, "I know." Marcus did not even try to deny it. What came next was something Sarah had never anticipated. He told her calmly, almost clinically, that he wanted a divorce. He said he had fallen out of love with her, that Lily understood him in ways Sarah never could, that he had been unhappy for years. He spoke about their unborn child as though the baby were a complication to be managed rather than a life to be cherished. Sarah moved back to her mother's house that same night, her suitcase barely packed, her hands trembling over her swollen belly. Elena, sick and frail, pulled her daughter into her arms without a single word of "I told you so." For 3 months they lived together, mother and daughter, one waiting for new life and one quietly preparing to leave this world. Elena passed away on a cold Tuesday morning, 2 weeks before Sarah's due birth. Sarah held her mother's hand until the very end, whispering all the things she wished she had said sooner. The grief was immense, a second ocean on top of the first. But in the days that followed Elena's passing, a lawyer arrived at Sarah's door with documents she had never expected to see. Elena, the woman who had worked 2 jobs for decades, had been born into one of the wealthiest families in the country. She had walked away from that fortune as a young woman after a painful falling out with her father, choosing a simple life over the burden of inherited wealth. But her father, Sarah's grandfather, had passed away quietly 6 months earlier and had left everything, his estate, his investments, his properties across 4 countries, entirely to Elena. And now, by the terms of the will, with Elena gone, every single penny of that fortune passed directly to Sarah. The total value was over $3 billion. Sarah sat in her late mother's kitchen, newborn daughter sleeping against her chest, and read those documents 3 times before the reality settled in. She had spent months feeling worthless, discarded, and forgotten. She had watched the man she loved choose another woman. She had buried her mother alone, and now the universe had handed her something neither Marcus nor Lily had ever dreamed. She possessed. She named her daughter Eleanor, after the woman who had quietly protected her even from beyond the grave. She built a foundation in her mother's name, one that supported single mothers, pregnant women without resources, and families in crisis. She never called Marcus. She never confronted Lily. She simply moved forward, quietly and powerfully, raising her daughter with the same gentle strength her own mother had given her. The world never saw her cry again, but it did see her rise. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Kindness True Stories. Your support helps us bring more stories of strength, love, and hope to people who need them most.